Hi there. Hope you're doing well. And I am here today to basically explain an important concept in our weight loss and fitness journey. And today we are going to talk about metabolism. Now, metabolism is a word that most of us have heard, mostly in relation to weight loss, and people feel like metabolism will control the rate of weight they lose, or it may not allow some people to lose weight because they have a slower metabolism and things like that. So today let's try to break up the concept in short, and I'll help you to understand what metabolism is, what its relation to weight loss is, and also, of course, I'm going to give you a few takeaways from today's little talk that we're going to have. So let's go next. I'll make it a full screen for you here. Great. So what metabolism is, that it is a complex bodily process of converting food and drink into usable energy in order to maintain life. So metabolism is nothing but the body's expenditure, so that the food that you eat or whatever you drink is converted to energy and used by the body. So this process, the whole process, is called metabolism. But nowadays when you hear the word metabolism, it is usually in reference to weight issues, and you will hear many people say that, oh, I have a slow metabolism and therefore I cannot lose weight, or he has a faster metabolism and so whatever he eats he never puts on weight, so he's a lucky guy, and things like that. Now, it is true that metabolism is linked to weight, but even if you do have a slow metabolism, that really is not something that is going to make you gain weight. Or having a slow metabolism is a very small, reason or a minor cause that you are gaining weight or you are unable to lose weight. How much you eat and drink, along with what kind of physical activity you do, really determines your weight. So the point is that we should not really blame our metabolism for our weight, lack of weight loss or our rate of weight gain. So metabolism is not the culprit. The real culprit is what we eat, how we eat, what kind of exercise we do, and things like that. Because let me tell you this, metabolism is something that you're born with. Sometimes metabolism is genetically driven. You will find some people who eat a lot, who eat whatever they want, but still are very skinny. Now, they may have a faster metabolism, but really that's the way they are. That is their genes. And if you have a slow metabolism, and let me tell you that, there is a range of metabolism that people will have, from 1200 to 1400 to 1600, and everybody's metabolism, which is the rate at which they're burning calories, is very different. So first of all, you cannot compare yourself with anybody else, and number two, whatever your metabolism is, there are things that you can do to speeden this up. Okay, so don't blame your metabolism and just allow yourself to put on weight. You can actually do things that will help you to boost your metabolism, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. So before we move on, I once again want to explain this concept to you called energy balance. If you eat more and if you burn less, okay, you're going to gain weight. So if you consume more energy and burn out less energy, you're going to gain weight, as opposed to if you eat less food, give your body less energy in terms of calories, and burn out more, you're obviously going to lose weight. So if you can imagine a bucket, if you're going to put 1 mug of water inside the bucket and you're going to remove 2 mugs of water outside the bucket, there is going to come a point when the bucket is going to be empty, right? It's going to go down. So that's exactly what is going to happen to your weight. It's a broad example, but look at it that way, is that if you put in less and burn out more, you're going to obviously lose weight. And generally when we are on our weight loss journey, the first thing that we want to do is cut down. Okay, so cutting down obviously does not mean being hungry or starving. Cutting down means changing the kind of food that we're eating, so that you're giving your body less calories, good food, wholesome food, but less calories, and you're trying to burn out more. And today we are going to talk about the different ways in which you can burn out. Now, most people feel that burning out is only through exercise. So what people will do is they will eat a lot of food and try to burn it off by increasing their exercise. But exercise is just one component of your burnout. Your overall burnout has many different components, and we are going to see how we can maximize on these different components, right? So let's see, there are 4 components of your burnout or metabolism. The largest one being your resting metabolism, and I'm going to explain to you what it is, but it accounts for 60% of your overall burnout. Then your exercise will account for 20% of the burnout. Your spontaneous activity, or things that you do, the movement that you do other than exercise, accounts for about 10%, and what you eat also accounts for about 10% of your output. Now let's take each of these components and see how we can maximize it. Let's talk about the resting metabolism first. Now, resting metabolism is the rate at which your body is burning calories at resting position. So even if you don't do any work and just keep sitting in one place, your body is still going to do some work or exert itself just in order to be alive. So different processes in the body, like your brain is working, your lungs are working, your digestion, your excretion, all of these things, really, even if you don't move, your body is exerting certain calories, and that output is what we call as BMR. Now BMR is standard, it is different for different people, and it is something that it's by default. But what can you do to raise your BMR? The focus should be to have more muscle in the body. Okay? When you have more muscle, your muscle exerts way too many calories even at resting position. So if you have a good muscular body, just imagine that even if you're not doing anything, even when you're sleeping at night, your body is still doing the burnout, which gives you a lot of room to have a little bit of different food, to have a little bit of, I'm not saying eat anything that you want, but it will give you some room. So you will find that people who are muscular will eat and they will automatically burn it out. So that phase we want to get into, and that phase typically is what we call as maintenance phase. So when we are losing weight, my point is, don't just look at the weighing scale, also look at your fitness, how you're lifting weights, how you're doing your exercise, so that you're building good muscle. And once you have good muscle in the body, the rate of your weight loss is going to increase. That's number one. Number two, let's focus on the thermic effect of food. Now, some calories you are going to burn, your body is going to burn only in the process of digestion. For example, if I eat, let's say I eat a sandwich, for that sandwich to get digested, my body is going to exert some calories, right? Now, different foods will have a different thermic effect. And so this is the way it is listed, that fat, the thermic effect of fat is just up to 3%. So if you have a teaspoon of butter, or if you have a teaspoon of oil, just 3% of the total calorific output is going to be exerted because you are digesting that spoon of fat. As opposed to this, carbohydrates will give you 5 to 10 grams of an output. So if you eat a chapati or if you eat some millets, your body is going to burn about 5 to 10% of the total calories just in order to digest that food. But protein has a 20 to 30% of an output. So when you're eating, for example, if you eat a bowl of sprouts, and a bowl of sprouts has about 300 calories, then out of that, let's say about 75 to 100 calories are only exerted just in order to digest that food. So just imagine, you're getting good quality of food through sprouts, you're getting good nutrition and everything else, and your body is burning out a lot of calories just to digest that. So anyway, your burn is going to increase when you have more protein rich food. So what is the focus? The focus is include some component of protein in every meal. When you look at your plate and if you ask your question, what is the protein component in this, you must get an answer, and that could be dal, that could be sprouts, that could be chicken, that could be eggs, and of course our shake has good amount of protein in it, and therefore the more protein you have, the more protein rich food you have, your body is going to increase its metabolism and help you to burn more number of calories. Then we go we go to NEAT, which is the non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So just imagine this, that you're doing 1 hour of exercise every day, and for the full day you don't do anything, you just keep sitting in one place. Does that normally happen? Not at all. Normally for the full day we move, we go, climb up and down the stairs, we drop something, we pick it up, we brush our teeth, we cook. So all of this activity which is other than exercise is called non-exercise activity, and it accounts for about 10 to 15% of your total output. So what is the focus? The focus is to be more active other than exercise. So I find a lot of people otherwise, they would go to the gym, work out for a good 1 hour, and for the rest of the day they would be sitting at a desk at their desk job. That's not actually a great idea, because then they are removing that component of a burn, and sometimes When people come across a weight loss plateau, all I tell them is that just make sure you're walking for about 45 minutes or completing about 8 to 10,000 steps on a daily basis, which means what I'm telling them is to be more active throughout the day. That way they're going to add to the calorie burn, and that way that weight loss plateau will break and they will start to lose weight again. This is very, very important for people who are, or especially for women who are going through menopause. This activity, because during menopause, some women find it very difficult to do a heavy workout. But at this point, if they increase their NEAT component, then they will still end up losing weight, losing a lot of bloating, losing inches and things like that. This is also true during your period cycles. During periods, some women find it very uncomfortable to work out, but on those days, if you just take a half an hour, 45-minute walk, you are still getting in the NEAT or the non-exercise activity burnout. Okay. And the next, of course, is exercise. Exercise will help you to burn a lot of calories. Cardiovascular exercise like running, swimming, aerobics, HIIT, it really stimulates your metabolism. It helps you to burn calories, and also it temporarily helps you to suppress your appetite. So if you notice, when you do a very good workout, you won't really feel like sitting and having an elaborate meal. You will feel like actually being hydrated, drink more water, maybe have a bowl of salad. So your mind really starts thinking healthier when you are exercising, and that is an added benefit apart from the good calorie burn that it will give you. Secondly, weight training is very important. Why? Because weight training will give you the muscles that you want in the body to raise your metabolism. Without weight training, it is very difficult to build muscle. Okay, so cardiovascular exercise and strength training, whether it is body weight training or using external weights, you have to challenge your muscles so that your muscles are growing, and when your muscles grow, muscle percentage increases in the body, your calorific burnout also increases. So what is the focus? The focus is a good workout for 30 to 40 minutes every day, which includes some amount of body weight training or external weight training. Okay, so let's try to see this as a whole. BMR, which is your resting metabolism, which accounts for about 60%, is genetically predetermined. You cannot really do anything about it except build lean muscle tissue. But there are other three components which account for 40% of your burn, and if you ask me, it's quite considerable, is lifestyle dependent, which means that you can definitely work on it and help to increase it. One is increasing your non-activity or non-exercise activity, which is NEAT, which means to move more. Have a good 30 to 40 minute of a workout session, and have protein rich food so that it gives you a good thermic effect of the food. So these are the 5 takeaways. You can click a picture, you can save it on your phone, or you can take a printout and put it up, because this is greatly going to be important in your weight loss journey. Number 1, focus on weight training, body weight or weight. So when I give you HIIT workouts to do, understand why I'm giving them to you. I want you to build good muscle in your body. Number 2, build lean muscle tissue. Of course, that's going to happen when you focus on weight training. Number 3, have more protein rich food. So you should never ever have a meal which does not have a protein component in it. Number 4, be more active. Walk more, walk down the stairs, climb up, don't take the elevator. If you want to go to a nearby store, see if you can walk it. If you have a bicycle, use your bicycle, and just move more in the day, right? And the last and most important is get a good night's sleep. Rest and recovery is very, very important to have a good, healthy metabolism. So I hope you found all these tips helpful. You can ask me any questions that you may have at the end of this tutorial. Thank you so much, and I will see you very soon.